Yes, hello everybody. Hello out there. I'm Gary Kendall, talking to you from Sweden, and we're very close to what's called midsummer here, the summer solstice. And nighttime is just a hint. It's daylight all the time here. And I'm happy to welcome you all to this meditation sponsored by the Dolphin Star Temple. And it's a good time, I think, uh, for me and for everyone to uh, think about giving thanks to all the people who've helped us in our lives to come to this point. And I would like to give thanks to the board of the Dolphin Star Temple for sponsoring these events and extending the work of the Dolphin Star Temple out to a larger community of people. If you're part of a community of people who is interested in spirituality in their lives, then I urge you to take a look at the web pages of the Dolphin Star Temple. It's dolphinstartemple.org. Org because we're an organization, maybe because we're also organic. No artificial ingredients in the Dolphin Star Temple. We're happy to have you here with us and to share our aspirations for how we live during these times, how we help shape the world, and how we all evolve toward a higher level of consciousness together. So I have lots of gratitude and lots of love for the Dolphin Star Temple, which has been the foundation of my spiritual life. And I also have to especially give some thanks to our primary teacher, Amora Kuan Yin, who passed in 2013, but is still a constant presence, giving inspiration to us. And I thought maybe I would share one of my experiences with Amora, because it helps maybe to understand why I'm here and why I'm doing this, and maybe this is something that would resonate with you. But sometime in 2002 or 2003, I was in a class with Amora, and she told us in the morning that we were all going to go through, yes, through lots of love to you too. We were all going to be traveling in a Merkaba to go to the etheric spaces of the Dolphin Star Temple in Mount Shasta. And so we were all put in a meditative state. We were all gathered into this Merkaba. We all traveled into the etheric space. And we arrived there to be greeted by the higher council of the Dolphin Star Temple. And they were all there, and everyone sort of, found someone to be with and scattered. And I found myself with this goddess who I didn't recognize. I didn't know her, and somehow she was the one for me that day. And she took me into her etheric spaces, and I was really struck hard by the energy and the quality of what was there, because I had been in the Syrian spaces before, but this was something of a higher level, more delicate, more intricate, another kind of fabric of light that I had never experienced before. So I had this wonderful visit with this goddess who I didn't know who she was. I was trying to grasp her name. And then, Amora brought us all back, and we were in her living room, and we had a break. And I went up to Amora because I couldn't hold myself back. I went up to Amora and said, I've just had this experience, and I need to tell you about this, and I need to know who this is. And she said, oh, that was Goddess Antares. Yeah, who is Goddess Antares? Mora said, oh, there was a meeting of the Dolphin Star Council, the Dolphin Star Temple Higher Council, and she just showed up. And from that point forward, Amora began channeling Goddess Antares. Said that she was influenced many, many, many times by Goddess Antares and the work that she was doing. And I think that was a transformational moment for me. Amora took me there, and Amora made that possible. And so, I was inspired by this experience to try to understand what Antares was in a deeper way. I think the thing that struck me most was that when I tried to understand and see Goddess Antares, she was the same at every dimensional level. There was no difference. It was all the same at every level. And I began to understand her relationship to oneness, because she at every level manifested in complete alignment with oneness. That was an inspiration to me, a higher concept than I had had before that time. And since then, she's been important in my life and important in the life of my wife, Ula. And we've begun using the spheres of Antares as a way of helping develop our energy and develop the core energy inside of ourselves. I'm going to make a reference to those spheres a little bit later on. But the work of Antares for me is a little bit like working to build a person from the inside, to build the quality of their own light. And if you think of healing as being a little bit like gardening, I do a little bit of gardening myself, you can think of healing. One aspect of healing is pulling the weeds. Another aspect of gardening is fertilizing the plants that you want to grow. And for me, the work of Antares is that work. It's the work of fertilizing the strength of the plants that you want to grow in your spiritual garden. So with that, I'd like to turn the corner to the focus of today's meditation. And the title for this was Finding Stillness and Power in a Time of Transformation. And maybe I could have said something about the power of stillness, because those things go together in a way that is maybe surprising and maybe something that we can experience as we go along here. So the goal of this meditation is to enter into a place of absolute stillness, where we can merge with the divine energy of creation, and to use that energy in helping to co-create our world. Stillness is the doorway through which we can experience the unfolding energy of creation. So that's the goal of our work. The inspiration for doing this today, comes from looking at the world around us and seeing the huge amount of transformation that everyone's experiencing. And I assume that you're experiencing too. If it's having to do with the confinements and limitations we all experience because of the COVID virus, or because of changes in social structure and challenges about social justice. We're living in a time of change and transformation. And then there's a question for all of us then about how do we best walk our walk and talk our talk, in a time like this. So there'll be 4 phases to what unfolds next. First is going to be setting space. And in setting space, we'll make a connection to the earth and to the cosmos, from the finite to the infinite. And then also we'll move then into helping us release whatever's inside of us that keeps us out of stillness. I mean, that's the part that's the most like healing. We need to release what's holding us back from our capacity for stillness, and so that we can enter into absolute stillness. Then our task is to align with the divine flow of creation, and to make an ally of that energy. And finally, to be able to use that energy in shaping the destiny of the earth and the way that we feel is in the highest possible alignment. Now, there may be some time at the end for reflections and questions, and we'll just sort of see how that goes as we move along. So the first thing we're going to do together now is set space. So I ask you to sit comfortably and close your eyes and think about this now, the setting of space, how important this is as an ancient act that connects us with our ancestors, going back to the very beginnings of time, that they set space and we set space. It's an affirmation that there's an unseen world. And we affirm that in the face of all the belief systems there are that tell us that there is no unseen worlds. And we do this as an act of connecting with our universe, connecting in a way that stretches beyond all limitations and is transcending all the separations that are often made. So we relax and center ourselves. And the first thing then I would like us to do is to reach out with our feelings, to connect to the vibrational level of the earth that's associated with the consciousness of the crystals. To reach out and feel for that level of vibration. Tune into it. Ask that the crystals connect with you, because all the crystals of the earth hold a level, a vibrational level of consciousness that transcends all the earth. It's part of the earth consciousness. When you feel that you have made that connection, then ask for a field of the most beautiful, divine, crystalline, sacred geometry to be placed around you. The most beautiful, divine, crystalline, sacred geometry. Ask for the assistance of the crystals and their consciousness to surround us with a field of the sacred geometry of the earth, the crystalline sacred geometry, to create a space that's safe, to create a space that's pure, to create a space where we can unfold the work that's about to happen. And now we reach out into the cosmos to also ask then for the assistance of Antares in placing around us a sphere of oneness, an Antares sphere of oneness around our entire light bodies, our entire energy fields, an Antares sphere of oneness. And by this act, we surrender to the oneness of all things. We ask to transcend all separations and all dualities. We commit ourselves to the cosmic oneness. And in this way, we connect to the infinite. We hold then the sacred geometry of the crystals, which is finite and earth-related, and the sphere of oneness, which connects us with the divine oneness of all things. And I want you now to focus all of your attention inside of yourself. Withdraw all attention from the world around you. Focus your attention into the space around your heart. Give all your attention to the space around your heart. And move in as close as you can. Maybe you experience that space inside the heart as an area of light. It's a space that holds the connection to your soul, to your divine essence, your unique true self. And ask that light to give you the feeling of the vibration which is uniquely yours, your unique vibration. And it could be like a feeling like it's in a song. And in fact, maybe you feel like it could be expressed in a song. What is that divine essence of you? To feel it emerging from your heart. Allow yourself to emerge as the true being that you are. And maybe it's like a song, and maybe it's like a dance, or maybe it's like a work of visual art. Whatever it is that captures that for you, embrace it. Embrace the uniqueness that is you. And take that energy and just let it celebrate itself inside of your chest and expand out to fill your chest area, to fill all around your body, to fill in and stretch out, and let that unique vibration, that pure essence of yourself, that song, whatever it is that is yours, let it fill all the space of your auric field, completely surrounding your light body, to hold all the space of your auric field, because this is the space of your sovereignty over yourself. This is your space. Let it ring forth and sing forth with the vibration that's uniquely yours. And visualize that you're in that space that is uniquely yours. And now it's time for us to clear out from ourselves what it is that most influences us to be out of stillness, what keeps us out of stillness. And I invite you to lift your hands and hold them in front of yourself with the palms facing inward, as if you were holding a ball between your hands, creating an energetic space. And with your eyes closed, focus for a moment on all the ways that you will avoid doing the things that you know are healthy for you and best for you. Think about how you avoid them, any patterns that you have where you step away from what's in your highest good, and ask that the energy of those patterns be held in the space between your hands. Hold it yourself. Hold your pattern. Hold the energy that comes up for you when you're not really doing what's best for you and you know it. All of that avoidance, because it has a horrible legacy to carry that around. And maybe reach in too and ask that the energy that you carry of anger, any anger that you have about things that are going on around you, anything that's holding you back, patterns that bring up anger in you, whatever that is, ask that that be placed in this space between your hands. Place it in the space between your hands. all things that keep us from the stillness. And any patterns that you have where you fixate on conflicts, especially if you fixate on conflicts among people, between friends, ways in which you bring up and fixate on these conflicts and maybe rehearse them over and over again and think about them. Any ways and patterns that you get into thinking about something that you can't resolve over and over again, place that between your hands. See it there. Pull it up out of yourself and hold it between your hands. Hold it between your hands. It's your energy. It's your energy to decide what you're going to do with. And think about all the ways that you use media and entertainment that takes you into a place of anxiety and worry. All the things that you do that are not helping you because it's increasing the anxiety in your life. These distractions from the world that come from entertainment and media, ask that all of those things be placed between your hands. So you externalize it from yourself. You hold it between your hands. And all the little addictions that you have, all the ways that you cover up your feelings with food or distractions, whatever it is that is the addictions that you use to avoid feeling everything completely. Ask that all those patterns of addiction be placed between your hands. And any limiting beliefs you have about yourself, things that where you believe you can't overcome some deficit that you imagine that you have, all those worries you have about yourself, hold it between your hands. The energy of all of these things, all of these disruptive energies, to pull them out of ourselves and to place them between our hands. And if you have beliefs that you can't change, or if you have beliefs that you can change in some ways, but you can't change in others, put those beliefs between your hands. You don't know what you're capable of. Maybe you do know what you're capable of. Maybe you know that you can change. Maybe you know that something's calling you to make changes in your life, to live better, to live in a better alignment. And now as we hold the energy of all of these things between our hands, in my hands, it feels like a heavy, buzzy mess. And, because these are all problems I'm facing too. And what I would like us to do now is to ask for an entire sphere of oneness to be placed around all of these energies that we've created, our patterns, our feelings, our thoughts, all of these things that keep us busy and keep us out of stillness. We ask for an entire sphere of oneness to be placed around them. And we do this because all of these things are out of alignment with the oneness of all creation. They're out of alignment with oneness. And we ask then that the entire sphere of oneness work upon these energies to undo and unravel all of the ways that they are out of alignment with oneness. One of these ways is in terms of their purity. And we can ask for an entire sphere of purity to be placed around all of these energies. Entire sphere of purity. And ask that it works specifically to help purify all of these energy structures between our hands. Let it work, dissolving away all of these energies from the inside. And ask too for an Antares sphere of balance to be placed around all of these energies. An Antares sphere of balance that works to restore the balance for everything that's out of balance. So many things out of balance. Bring balance back to all of this energy. And we ask too at this time for an Antares sphere of clarity and vision. Antares sphere of clarity and vision to help us understand all of these things, these limited things, that they are all aspects of our third and fourth dimensional life, that these things look entirely different when we see and understand them from the standpoint of all the dimensions. If we understand them from a fifth and sixth and seventh dimensional perspective, the importance of all these things in our third dimensional world just evaporates away because these aren't important at all in the big picture. And we ask too at this time for an Antares sphere of harmony and transcendence. We ask for an Antares sphere of harmony and transcendence because the light that makes up all of these things that we've created, all of these patterns, all of these energies, that's the same light, the same divine light that makes up everything in the world, in the cosmos. Everything is made of the same substance. And in truth, and in higher truth, there are no separations between these things. So as you feel the change in the energies that you've been holding, as you are now inside of this space within yourself, imagine that there's something like a knock on the door. Someone wants to come into you. Someone wants to come into your space. That visitor who wants to come in is yourself. It's yourself in a state of peace and stillness. It's the person you can be when you're in a state of absolute stillness. So relax your hands and blend together with that person you are in a state of absolute stillness. Still all of the feelings in your body. Wherever there's motion, bring it to stillness. And still all the thoughts of your mind to come into absolute stillness. And come into a place of such stillness now that the world around you slows down and comes to a halt. Such stillness that as everything around you is not moving at all. Everything has stopped, frozen in a single moment. And from this place, you're ready to be an observer sitting in stillness, prepared to watch how the world moves and changes. There is a creative force that pushes the world along from one moment to the next, pushing it along, creating the next moment and the next moment, creating the next moment after that. This is a force of the divine creator that is expressed through the divine Elohim. The Elohim are a council of creators and sustainers of creation. This is what Amora Kuan Yin teaches us. And as the nurturers of creation, that they are the ones who anchor the constant rhythm of the individuation and the creation returning to oneness. And we call this time upon the presence of the divine Elohim to help us in revealing to us the creative force that propels our world. We call this the energy of unfolding creation. Some liken it to a wind that blows through the universe, pushing things along. Some say that wind is the breath of God. But it's also like a wave on the ocean that's breaking to crash onto the beach, but always in the process of crashing, never finishing, always moving into the potential. This energy of unfolding creation, like that wave, if one tries to resist it, that wave can push one over, just like a wave in the surf can cause you to lose your feet from under you. The alternative is to merge with that wave, to use its energy, to become one with that energy. And like a swimmer who swims in the waves, or a surfer who's riding the waves, then the alternative is to ride in harmony and in alignment with the energy of unfolding creation. By choosing to be here, and by choosing to walk your spiritual path, and you have chosen to transform yourself, the energy of unfolding creation is the energy that propels your personal evolution. It moves your life from one moment to the next, and you can surrender to the power and align yourself with the divine flow of the energy of unfolding creation. So let the energy of unfolding creation be your ally when you choose to live in alignment with it. You release your tendency for resistance, and you flow where divine flow is moving. And when you move in alignment with the energy of unfolding creation, your influence is felt, because it is creator beings like us, creator beings like human beings, who give the final form to what's evolving, gives the shape and the ideas to what evolves out of the creation energy that's moving through the universe. You can align yourself with the energy of unfolding creation as a way of understanding how to live in times of transformation, how to live through times of change, how to live through the transformations and changes in your personal life. So ask to see a symbol that can represent for you this fundamental energy, the energy of unfolding creation. The mind needs a symbol to come back to. Let it emerge, whatever is most meaningful for you, as a symbol that you can use to come back to your alignment with this energy, to reconnect with the way that the Elohim and the cosmos work together to create the world that's unfolding for you now. And while you're still holding the connection to that energy of unfolding creation, I ask you to look deep into your heart for a vision, for your vision of what the earth could be. What could this earth be? If we're in a state of change, if things are evolving, what could we evolve to? You don't have to know all the answers to all the questions, but to have a vision of the quality of what the earth would be like, what life for human beings could be like. And I ask you to imagine an image of the earth floating in space in front of you. An image of that earth, the one that you would like to bring into existence, the one that your heart knows wants to come into existence. And then reach now with your hands and imagine your hands around that image. Put your hands around that image. The earth that we want to be and brought into existence. And connect now to the energy of unfolding creation. To ask that the energy of unfolding creation flow through you like a wave breaking on the beach, breaking and never finishing, an energy passing then through your hands into that image of the world, to feed that image with the energy of unfolding creation. Feed that image of the earth. Sustain it. Let the energy of unfolding creation help to give it a more specific and concrete form. We are creating the form of the earth that unfolding creation can bring into existence. Give it all of our love. Give it all of our best wishes and hopes. We ask for the highest potential for what Earth could be, for what humanity living in the Earth could be, for what all the planes of consciousness on the Earth could be, living in harmony with one another. Imagine an Earth where there are no separations, an Earth that is an organic living entity, a consciousness of many consciousnesses, living in the acknowledgement of the consciousness of all things. When you're ready, you can relax your hands. I'm going to ask that you take 3 deep breaths, followed by a 4th breath that you hold. And while you hold that breath, to move this energy that you've experienced throughout your entire light body and your entire physical body, to crystallize this, to help you hold on to this and make it a part of who you are. First deep breath. Second. Third. Another breath and hold it. Hold it in the stillness. And when you're ready, release your breath. Okay. Well, I hope then if you hold on to the symbol that emerged when we were working with the energy and the stillness, that it gives you a reference point for coming back and revisiting these places again. And I might mention that if you're interested in reading a bit more about the Elohim, there's a channeling by Amora Kuan Yin, who else, you know, in her book Oneness, that might be of some interest to you. And if you're interested in reading more about the energy of unfolding creation, I recommend my book, Breaking Bubbles and Awakening Oneness, because there's some significant discussion there about the energy of unfolding creation. And I might mention too, you know, in this time, you know, in which we can feel gratitude for this opportunity to be together and to have this kind of sharing, that the Dolphin Star Temple would love to hear from you, and if you're in a position to be able to give, to help give something to the Dolphin Star Temple, to donate something to help cover all the costs, And I think if you go visit the web pages and see all the material that's there, that you'll see that there is a lot of work going on that you can help give some support to. Okay. Now, all this time, I haven't scrolled down through all the messages, and so I just want to send first a lot of love to everyone from so many different countries who have joined us here and shared this experience today. Okay, and yeah, I was asking for for questions or reflections that we might share, and I see down at the end here there is a question, and this one that would maybe be interesting to answer, asking me to say something more about the Elohim, and there's an interesting history to the word Elohim. For one, it appears in the Bible many times, but not always with the same meaning. So, to me, the fundamental meaning of Elohim comes out from the root El, which is often associated with divine creator. El and Al are two forms that seem to go back and forth. So Allah or Allah in Aramaic, that's the same root of reference to God. But Elohim is God in multiplicity. It's plural God. So we might think that, there's divine creator who's, emanating from oneness, who's the always in a singular, because oneness is a singular thing. But then God manifested in diversity. That's the power of Elohim. So that, for me, is the simple explanation and understanding what the Elohim are. In fact, God's power then, from that point of view, is coming from the oneness, and the Elohim then are the ones who create diversity and individualization, create all the planes of consciousness, create all the content on the planes of consciousness, create all the diversity that's in the cosmos, and then also supervise the process by which all of these things migrate back toward alignment with oneness. So there's our process of God as a singularity, holding the oneness, the Elohim, bringing it into diversity and bringing it back again. That's the great motion of the cosmos, of creating and bringing things into alignment. So that's how I understand the Elohim, as unlimited beings who represent the face of God, bringing diversity to the cosmos. Yeah, and okay, I say, lots of thanks. Thank you. Yes, thank you all for your appreciation and love. And if you have any experiences or thoughts that you'd like to share, maybe we take a little time. The last time I did a meditation, I realized that it took a while for some of these comments to go from you to me. It's a little bit of a slow transition. So if you have anything else you'd like to share, any other questions that are relevant, I'm happy to chat with you for a little while. And I'll take a sip of tea for all of the efforts here. So many countries represented here. Oh. Yes, from Sweden to Panama. My goodness, from Poland, Ecuador. It's a sharing of consciousness um, across the entire world, the awakening. And I know maybe sometimes it seems disheartening that the world isn't always choosing the highest path of evolution, but it's the path of evolution that clears the way for the future that we need for ourselves. Yes? Anything? I don't want to rush it. How do symbols, what is a fifth or higher dimensional symbol? One that is not a third or fourth dimensional symbol? Well, that's a good question, because in a lot of spiritual work that we do, we have representations of things that kind of look like things that could be in the physical world. We have symbols that seem like third dimensional objects, or maybe if they're a bit more imaginative, we think of them as being mythic objects, maybe things that couldn't exist in the third dimensional world, but we can imagine them. So third and fourth dimensional. But for reflection below, okay. But for understanding things with the mind, we know the mind is built for the third dimension, and we need third dimensional hooks so that the mind has the opportunity to reach above itself and to sense and to understand things that are at higher dimensional levels. So what is a fifth dimensional object look like? That's not easy to describe. And so a lot of times what happens is that we understand the fifth and the higher dimensions through the interface of symbols and representations that are graspable by the mind. And we do this because we are imagining that we have to understand these things with the mind. But of course, the mind is trapped in biological consciousness. The mind only works the way that the mind does. What we're trying to do is to liberate ourselves so that we can think and experience from a higher dimensional perspective, because our light body can do that. Our light body exists through all the dimensions. And there's a different kind of knowing and a different kind of understanding that the light body has. It's not the same as biological consciousness. I'd say we could call it light body consciousness. And a lot of things get confused when people try to mix the two together. The power of stillness in some part is to quiet the biological mind so that we move our experience then into the realm of the other dimensions that open ourselves up. And I'm getting some questions. Let's see if I can get yes, I'm trying to maybe not so many questions now, but thank you. Well, it's been an interesting time. I'm glad to have had this time with you. I feel very grateful. And once again, if you have the opportunity, please visit the web pages of the dolphinstartemple.org. And with lots and lots of love and all the light that I know is emanating through all of us now together, we say goodbye and bring things to a close. Okay. Lots of love.